Welcome to South Detroit Dynasty. You're here tonight with JR. I'm going to talk about the inaugural auction draft that we had for South Detroit Dynasty to kick off this year. Basically, I'm going to go through, let you know if we got any steals, some pricing on some guys, and maybe it'll help you out in your auction leagues. So here we go. I'm going to start with Detroit Rock City. They're the first team on my list. Let's find out what Dan did and how the chef performed. So the chef went pretty deep. He got himself some Deshaun Watson, picked him up at a whopping $4.7 million. Mind you, in this league, we have $72 million for our 30-man roster. That's including IDP players. And then our salary cap goes up immediately after the auction draft by another $13 million for a total of $85 million, and we never decrease from there. So he spent a fair chunk of change on Deshaun Watson at 4.7. I believe that was the second highest paid quarterback in the league. But I mean, well worth it. Young guy. I mean, Deshaun's not even 24 years old yet. I'm sure that DRC is going to sign him to a 4-year deal and keep that guy, and he's going to be his franchise quarterback like everybody looks for. He backed him up with Matt Stafford at 0.9, so that's good. I mean, I don't usually like spending much more than around $5 million myself on quarterbacks. He spent 5.6, so he's right in that range. This is where it kind of got off track for DRC. He didn't hop into the auction draft early enough, I thought. But, I mean, me and him and another gentleman in our league, we usually conserve our money. I took a different route this time. He played the same role and decided to conserve his money, and you'll see on his roster that he got some steals later on by doing it. So his running back started with TJ Yeldon at a whopping 0.8, so $800,000. So it's not very much, but that's just a bye-week fill-in guy, if you ask me. Kenyon Drake, there he nailed a starter, and he nails him for $4.4 million. It's a very decent price. Tariq Cohen, DRC believes he's going to have a big year. I'm not too sure about whether or not he's going to have a big year, but you never know. He did well last year, 248 points he put up in our league with our scoring system. He paid $4.75 million or $4.7 million on him. Then Jay Ajayi he took a chance on, hoping he lands in a good team, and he got him for 0.4, so $400,000, which is absolutely the league minimum. So, I mean, it's worth having him at the league minimum. Then he went to Derrick Henry, was his last running back that he got, and he paid $7.5 million on him. I believe he only paid $7.5 million was because he had a little bit of pressure trying to get him, and guys were bumping him up. I think he probably should have been around a 6.3, maybe a 6.5, and I think it cost him an extra million because he had waited, and when he hopped in on Henry, there was other guys that were kind of looking for a run or two, so... But he did well. All in all, he did well in his running backs. Let's move on to his wide receiver core. So his wide receiver core is made up of a bunch of, I want to say number twos, maybe number threes. He has no solid number one. But like I said, he took that tactic where he wanted to wait, hold his money, not show his cards. And at the end of the day, he profited from it by getting a bunch of number two wide receivers at a very cheap price. So he started out with Marvin Jones, and he got him for $3.1 million. Fairly decent contract. Followed up by Sterling Shepard, young guy, supposedly be the number one. I don't know how that offense looks, but he got him at $2.3 million. Very, very good deal. Dante Pettis, who's he's almost 24 years old. He got him for $3.6 million, and then followed up by Demarcus Robinson at 0.8, so $800K. And he went after a couple more kids, so he went after Anthony Miller and Michael Gallup. Anthony Miller he got for $3 million, and Michael Gallup he got for 3.2. And then he rounded his team out with who he thinks is going to be the number one in New York, or it's going to be Sterling Shepard as the number one in New York. So he got both guys. He got Golden Tate at $3 million. He kind of was hesitant on grabbing a tight end. So this is another glaring weakness that he has. He went with the old guy who I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's 34 years old. Greg Olson, and he got him for $500K. But then he followed up by a rookie last year, Mike Gesicki. He got him for $800K. And then he did a trade which landed him Ben Watson, who's suspended right now, but could end up being a pretty good prospect for the Patriots at $400K. Let's move on to his defense. So his defense, he started out with some Derek Barnett, young guy. He paid $1 million on Derek Barnett. The guy that he targets and the guy that he really loves is Myles Garrett. He paid $3.1 million on him. I think that's a good price. He should have been around the $3 million mark. Jonathan Allen, he's potentially can be the steal for him at $400K. And then he followed up with Calais Campbell at $1.1 million. His linebackers look like pretty decent. He went deep on them. Christian Kirksey, Tremaine Edmonds, Fred Warner, Roquan McMillan, and Zach Cunningham. And he paid $1.5 million, $3.6 million, $2 million, $400,000, and $1.4 million. His safeties, or DBs, he followed up with Mika Fitzpatrick, Jamal Adams, Malik Hooker, and Jacques Tart. Tart was acquired in a trade along with Ben Watson. And he got those players for $900,000, $2.5 million, $600,000, and $500,000. Now we also did our draft selection on where we were going to draft. So whoever got number 1 got to choose, do I want to pick number 1, number 2, number 12, number 14. So DRC just happened to get, I forget what pick he got, but he chose number 13. So he gets, in our first year, the rookie draft is a snake draft, which also has a small twist on it. In the 3rd round, it goes back to number 14 and starts over again, and then it snakes totally. So DRC ended up with number 13, which also gave him the 202 and the 302. So he's looking very, very good that way, drafting-wise. He doesn't have a top. He's not in the top 5, top 8. He's outside of that at 13, but he's at a good spot where he could probably potentially land one of the tight ends, Hawkinson or Fant. He could land one of the linebackers. He could land Kyler Murray. So all in all, Dan's team rounded out pretty decently. Let's move on to the next team.